Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2012 episode review. This one's going to be for Season 2, Episode 22, Vengeance is Mine. And overall, I've got to say, this was one of the best episodes of this show. Not just the season, the show overall. I felt that it was probably the most character focused episode that we've had, one of the more emotional slash dramatic episodes the show's had. It, I assume, is going to be plot focused because how can this not have huge ramifications in the upcoming episode just because of how huge the events that happened were. Um, but overall, I have very few issues with this episode, and it just overall was very good. I'll get into some specifics now. Um, I'll start off with my one kind of like slight issue with the episode, just to get it out of the way, and that is that the decision to mutate Karai um, should have been this crazy moment in the series. It should have been one of the most shocking moments that this show has seen. But because they've had so many episodes where the focus has been on a human getting mutated kind of out of the blue, it really just severely lowered the impact that this one had. They played this up as far and away one of the more dramatic times it's happened, yes, but that still doesn't stop the fact that the second I saw her suspended over the mutagen and Shredder said that no, she's not going in there, she's just acting as bait, I knew she was going into the mutagen. It wasn't really a surprise because of all of the humans being transformed into mutants that we've had this season and last. Not to mention the fact that how many human characters are there in this show anymore? It should have been a huge event. It wasn't really, simply because of that. There now with this mutation we have so few human characters. Shredder, um, Casey, Irma, the guy who owns the sushi place where the turtles go to, and now Kirby O'Neill back to being a human after already being a mutant. It's just getting a little bit crazy. Now, as far as what that means for Karai as a character, it should be pretty interesting to see if they'll ever be able to talk sense into her, because already we've had the whole thing with Karai up to now where they've had to try and convince her that Splinter was her actual father and that she should join them because she's on the wrong side. They convinced her of that, and we got some great moments in this episode, kind of with her being on the good side. But this mutation presents us with another issue in that she's now kind of almost a mindless serpent, as they kind of said that was the whole idea of this mutagen, that it wouldn't transform her into like basically a sentient, fully capable of her own thought like the turtles are. Snake mutant, she is kind of controlled by, you know, just the want to basically kill rats like a Splinter. So that's an interesting choice. The mutant design, I suppose, is interesting because obviously it's revealed at the end that she's either a shapeshifter or she can just transform back into her more human like form when needed, and that snake form is her usual one. I think it's okay. I don't think it's like anything amazing, mind blowing. But the key point is obviously like what impact her mutation has on all of the other characters. Uh, Splinter was devastated. Shredder, he himself was devastated, though he caused it. And then you obviously have the classic villain thing of, even though I caused this to happen by setting up this situation and breaking the chain that that led to her being mutated, I'm going to get revenge on this other person. And there's that setup too. Leo, throughout the episode, I think they clearly showed that they were maybe at some stage going to go down the route of Leonardo and Karai being an actual romantic relationship. Um, Very much a possibility if they are able to kind of convince her and she can return to normal, but obviously she's going to be a mutant, and her being a mutant definitely opens up the possibility of Leonardo relationship, which could be a very cool thing for his character, just because they haven't done anything with regards to like romantic relationships in the show yet. They've set up a lot but haven't done anything with them, so this would be cool if they did that. But yeah, and then just continuing on the thing about Karai, I thought the scenes when she was rescued and she was at the turtle's lair were really good. Just getting to see what she's like on the good side and not completely driven by like anger or revenge. That she was actually laughing at the turtle's training session and how it went, kind of having some moments with her father, and it just really worked for me. And again, more clear setup of the Leo Karai relationship, with Leo trying to impress Karai at the training session and stuff like that. Through this Splinter Karai interactions, we also get the full backstory on what exactly happened in the past between Shredder and Splinter, and that Splinter's father took a young Shredder in basically, and they grew up as brothers, and a rivalry developed, which further intensified because of Karai's mother. And basically, the key point here is that Shredder killed Karai's mother and took her after setting a fire, and that's the basic setup, and that's pretty cool. It was nice to get that. It added just a kind of extra layer to the episode, that we got some backstory too. But other sides of the story, Leo caring a lot about Karai was definitely something I enjoyed, because realistically, this is probably the biggest character thing that the show has done so far in nearly 2 full seasons with one of the turtles, and that, you know, I don't think you can really say any of the turtles have had any big character development that much, but this is giving Leo something kind of big to do. Donnie, Raph, and Mikey they were involved in the episode a lot, but none of them, I suppose, really had a huge character moment where you really saw some growth from them or anything like that. Other stuff to mention, just a rivalry continuing to develop between Tiger Claw and Karai. That was that's interesting now, just because you sort of wonder what exactly Karai now escaped, as a mutant, what she's going to do. I assume she's probably going to want revenge on Tiger Claw. She's probably still going to want to hunt Splinter, and just overall you wonder, like, does she still feel a lot of anger towards Shredder? Is she going to go after him? Or what exactly is going to happen? It definitely presents an interesting new dynamic, because as I was saying last episode, we got potential finale kind of plot being set up with another Krang invasion, and I was like, oh, that's awfully similar to season 1. This could add a whole new dimension to a finale if it happens, where yes, there's a Krang invasion going on, but while that's happening, Karai's also up to no good or whatever. They're trying to help her. That's pretty interesting, and just the position that places a lot of the characters in that Splinter had his daughter back, and now he's kind of lost her again, but in a whole new way. It's not that just she's in prison and in prison kind of safe. She's now been mutated, and not just like physically mutated, kind of mentally mutated as well, just in the sense that she nearly killed him, and just the huge changes that happened here. What else is there to talk about? Coming back to the whole Karai being mutated, another point is just that last episode we got introduced to that thief guy, and he didn't get mutated in that episode, but we know he and some other person is going to get mutated into Bebop and Rocksteady. So there's going to be 2 more kind of human to mutant mutations that are going to happen, in addition to all of the other ones we've had. This show is very much overusing the whole idea that it can mutate characters, because it doesn't need to do it so regularly, just because it's got so many characters and so many good characters. Like, April's kind of a half mutant sort of thing going on here. They've already done something with mutating Kirby. next, the only thing left really is just to set up some sort of mutation angle with Casey or something like that, and you've basically touched on it with nearly every character. But this was a good episode. This is what I wish a lot more of the episodes would be like. I understand it probably can't be as emotional, as dramatic as it is this episode, but I want hints of that important stuff is happening in every episode, because a lot of big stuff happened in this episode, and even though I don't think it was as dramatic as it could have been, if they did it, stuff like that more often, like gave characters a lot of character development each episode, it could be very, very good. I just hope with 4 episodes to go, that one, they do not do what they've done nearly every time this season when they've done something good, and that is, next episode, they need to continue on this plot. They can't just address it slightly or ignore it completely. They have to really heavily address the fact that this is one of the most emotionally kind of crippling thing to happen to the Turtles, to Splinter, in the whole run of this show so far. They can't just have another pizza guy episode next time around. They can't just have another episode that means nothing to the plot, nothing to any of the characters. This has to have a big impact. A good way to do that, I think, would just be for them having to tell Casey and April, who weren't in this episode. But here's the thing. When April hasn't been in an episode, I've complained in these reviews about it, that why isn't April in this episode? She's one of the most interesting characters. I didn't even notice April was missing from this episode because they were doing interesting stuff with the other characters. And that is the first time ever, I think, that the show's really done that, where I haven't missed the absence of another interesting character just because they've done something interesting with another. They need to do that more often. Now, obviously, there's still stuff to go on with April, obviously, some plot points. They haven't really addressed the fact that how she's dealing with the fact that she's a half-mutant, special, origins unknown, and stuff like that, but there's a lot of stuff going on here that I like. As far as I know, the show's taking a break, like Korra is this week, because of Independence Day in America. 4th of July is Friday, and they don't air it during this whole week, so we're not getting it. A new episode this time around. Very disappointing, just because the show's had so many breaks already. With Korra, you understand, it's only just started. It always has 1 week break at some point in the season. This is very stop-start season, and I think that's adding to the fact that I haven't been so positive on it as maybe I was for season 1, just because it's been so stop-start, so many breaks and stuff like that. But either way, this episode was very good. That's the main thing I have to say. I really want to know what your guys' thoughts are in the comments, just because I do think this is a huge step up in terms of pretty much anything that the series has done up to now. And I want to know what other people think about it. But yeah, thanks for watching this video review, and bye.